everybody. I'm going to turn this over to Dennis. Let me introduce him the right way. Dennis Kinch is one amazing story.
go, holy mackerel, wow, we didn't know any of that. This is like 6 years later, you know, that they thought that I was just lazy, you know, that I was just trying to not work, and I was trying to, like, ace the system so I could get on Social Security, that piddly little amount of money, and people actually try to get on that, you know what I mean? They didn't understand it. No, this is real, you know. But now for 4 years, I didn't even know if it was real. There was no diagnosis. No one was telling me anything. I knew it felt real, but believe me, by the end of the 4 years, I was right. You can dissect my brain and find it. I don't care. If you think it's in my head, please find it. Isn't it funny that all those doctors that thought it was in my head never sent me to a psychiatrist? Never had any psychological counseling. That's the first thing that happened when I got to Boston. And they said, it's not because you're crazy. We don't think you're crazy. Your pain is very real, and we don't know what's causing it. But you have a lot of burden right now. You have a lot of pressure that you're under. We want you to go talk to someone who might help you with that. Maybe. I don't know.
And we have a very special guest who is walking Route 66 from Chicago to LA to raise awareness about back pain and pain in general. You don't want to miss that. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break. You're watching Elsa. Now, Dennis, I'm curious, how did you hook up with the National Pain Foundation? Did you find them? Did they find you?
I was lucky enough to be in pain classes in Mass General Hospital in Boston. And they taught classes based off the material on the website for the National Pain Foundation. So when I did my first walk in May, I walked from Boston to Washington, D.C. as a way of proving out physical therapy theories, and it worked. And I dedicated it to the National Pain Foundation. So they flew me to Denver to meet them and saw how much work there is to treat this. There's millions of people out there that need this education. And I decided I wanted to keep walking. Since I now understand, do what you can when you can, I get it.
That's fabulous. That's a very inspirational story.
From WFAA-TV, Channel 8, this is Good Morning Texas.
Do you suffer from chronic pain? Well, Dennis Kinch said it's the #1 reason people go to the doctor and the most undertreated, undereducated reason that people don't really know about. He's raising awareness and raising money. He's going to tell about his incredible journey across the country. Dennis Kinch just completed a 2,400-mile walk along Route 66, and you can bet he has a lot of stories to tell. Dennis, thank you so much for joining us today.
She said, I want to walk 400 miles.
It's amazing.
And I said, I need you now to be my coach. And, you know, it's funny how everything changed at that point. She became a coach instead of a therapist. I started taking therapy seriously, taking it home, making it part of my life.
People dealing with the same issues must have been so grateful to you.
People always say what's the hardest thing about walking 2,400 miles. In my case, the hardest thing was to hear story after story of tragedy. It turns out that my story is very common. People losing things, people losing their families and everything. And so listening to that over and over again, stopping at the clinics and listening to story after story, that was the hardest thing about it. So, and then to be in their waiting rooms and shaking hands with people and hugging people and just telling them that there's hope out there. A lot of the hope, it turns out, lies in us. You see what I mean? That's the answer. We're in the way of the system. The system really wants to help us. They're out there. They're just lost like we are. Chronic pain is such a lost situation.
Well, you've become this national spokesperson. You should be very proud of what you've done. There's a lot of people, I'm sure, that are watching that are really grateful to you that you created this awareness.
And I just want to tell them I'm grateful for them because people like A&S that's sponsoring me in town here to be here, they actually brought me in to speak to their employees because they make spinal stimulators. They want their employees to know how important this is to people's lives. And it is. Every little step we take is so important in a long run.
Well, you're creating that awareness, Dennis. That's great. Thank you so much for being here today.
My mind would think back to my memories of family and friends and of missing my home and my kids. Sometimes I would wonder if this was worth it. What am I doing out here? Living out of a wheelbarrow, walking and more walking. Then I realized this is what people do when they're lost. They keep moving.
A question well served is silence like a fever, a voice never heard, or a message with no receiver. song